I want you to picture a scenario. It's late, let's say 11 p.m. You're standing in the kitchen,
Okay.
and the overhead lights just seem way too bright, buzzing with that hum that only exists when you're angry. And you are in the middle of, well, let's call it a discussion.
A discussion. That's a really nice way of putting it.
Okay, fine. Let's be real. It's a full-blown argument. The dishwasher is open. Maybe there's a wine bottle on the counter, and the whole dynamic is shifting into something dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And one of you, and let's just say for the sake of the story, it's you is feeling this frantic need to solve the problem right now. You're thinking, we are not going to bed until this is settled.
A pursuer. Such a primal feeling. Like if you don't fix it now, everything will just fall apart.
Exactly. It feels like survival. But your partner, they're physically backing away.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking at the floor like it's the most interesting thing they've ever seen. They're inching toward the door. They look like they'd rather be anywhere else on earth.
Maybe in a dentist's chair.
Yes. Getting a root canal. And the more they pull away, the more you panic and push forward.
And the more you push, the more they just shut down. It's that classic pursuer-distancer dance.
Yeah.
And it is so painful to be in.
It is the absolute worst. And I have to admit, looking at the research for this deep dive, I felt a little targeted. I am definitely the one who wants to flee the room. I get that deer in the headlights look. My brain just goes blank.
And I have definitely been the one on the other side.
Oh, no.
I've been the one following someone possibly all the way to the bathroom door, talking through the wood.
Talking through the door is a classic.
I just have one more point to make. You just listen. It is not my proudest moment. But see, we've all been there. It's a universal thing.
It really is.
But the mission today is to fix that. We're doing a deep dive into the concept of the timeout. And before you roll your eyes and think, this is just for toddlers.
Right, or for sports.
Exactly. The research we've pulled from heavy hitters like John Gottman, Greg Smalley, Howard Markman, it all suggests this is actually a super high-level skill for adults.
That's the key right there. This isn't about punishment. It's actually about biology.
Absolutely. The goal is to help you stop fighting harder and start fighting smarter.
But there's a huge catch, right? Because when I hear timeout, I don't think strategic huddle. I think storing off. I think slamming doors.
The silent treatment.
Yes.
Total abandonment.
And that is the core misunderstanding we have to clear up. Most people think taking a break is an act of war. But the sources are crystal clear. A strategic timeout is actually an act of love. But, and this is a big but only if you do it right.
Okay, so let's unpack why we even need this. Because it's not just about being mad. There's real biology at play here.
Right. We have to start with the concept of flooding. This is a term from Dr. John Gottman's work.
Flooding. It sounds like a plumbing disaster, which honestly isn't too far off from what's happening in your body. In a way, it is a physiological disaster. Flooding, or what researchers call DPA, diffuse physiological arousal, is what happens when your body perceives a threat.
Okay.
And here's the inconvenient part of human evolution. Your body does not know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and your partner criticizing your spending habits.
The body just hits the big red threat button.
Exactly. It activates your sympathetic nervous system. Your body dumps adrenaline and cortisol into your blood. And the most critical metric Gottman found is the heart rate.
The magic number.
The magic number is 100 beats per minute, or about 80 if you're an athlete, since your baseline is lower. When your heart rate crosses that line while you're just standing there arguing, you are officially flooded.
Okay, so my heart's racing. I can feel it in my ears. But in that moment, I still feel like I'm rational. I feel like I'm making really good points, actually.
You might feel that way, but biologically, you're basically impaired. Gottman's research shows that when you're in that state, your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, it goes offline. It just gets completely hijacked by the amygdala, the little primitive fear center.
So I'm losing access to all the good stuff.
You lose your sense of humor. You lose access to empathy. You physically cannot problem solve creatively. Everything becomes black and white.
That explains the tunnel vision. When I get to that point, I literally can't hear the nuance anymore. It just sounds like an attack.
It's not just a feeling, it's physiological. Your peripheral vision and even your hearing are actually compromised. Your body's preparing to fight that tiger or run from it.
It's not preparing to empathize with someone's feelings about the dishwasher.
Not at all. So when we try to push through, thinking we have to solve this now, we're basically trying to negotiate a peace treaty with a caveman.
That's a perfect way to put it.
You're using logic on a system that's running on pure adrenaline. It's impossible. And this leads to that really dangerous behavior we mentioned, withdrawal. or what Gottman calls stonewalling.
The fourth horseman of the apocalypse? That sounds bad.
It should. It's one of the biggest predictors of divorce. Stonewalling is when the listener just shuts down. They cross their arms, look away, their face goes blank.
I've read the stats on this. It's mostly men, isn't it?
It is. Gottman found that 85% of stonewallers in heterosexual relationships are men.
Guilty. But I think it's important to clarify the intent. Because when I do that, it's not, I don't care. It feels like I'm trying to keep from exploding.
And that's the tragedy of it. The stonewaller is usually trying to self-regulate to stop things from getting worse. They're overwhelmed. But to the partner, the pursuer, it looks like you don't care at all.
Which just makes them panic more.
Right. If you go silent, they feel abandoned, so their anxiety spikes, and they get louder or more critical to get any reaction. Are you even listening to me?
And the whole cycle just explodes, so we have to separate stonewalling, which is toxic, from the time out, which is the antidote.
Yes. This is the crucial pivot. Stonewalling is an escape. A timeout is a strategic pause to protect the relationship.
So how do we do that? Because if I just walk out of the room, even if I'm trying to protect the relationship, it just looks like stonewalling.
Correct. If you just leave, your partner feels abandoned. The difference is communication. You literally need a script. You need to practice what you're going to say.
A script. Okay, let's hear it. What do we say when we feel our heart rate hitting 100?
Well, Greg Smalley and Howard Markman suggest something very specific. You can't just say, "You're being crazy, I'm out of here."
Yeah, probably not going to lower the tension.
No. You need to own your own body's reaction. The script is something like, "I love you, but I'm flooded." Or, "I love you, but I need a break to cool down."
I love you, but I'm flooded. I like that. It starts with connection, and it's about my reaction. I am flooded, not you are being impossible.
Exactly. But there is one more sentence you absolutely must add. This is the safety net. You have to say, "I promise I will be back."
I promise I will be back.
That phrase is everything. For the anxious partner, the pursuer, that promise is the only thing that gives them the security to let you walk out that door.
It changes the story in their head from, he's leaving me, to he's just pressing pause.
Yes. It turns abandonment into an agreement.
Okay, but let's be realistic. Sometimes when you're that flooded, getting those words out is hard.
It can feel impossible.
My jaw is clenched. I'm seeing red. I might not be able to articulate. My dearest, I'm experiencing diffuse physiological arousal.
Right. You might just grunt. And that's why the sources all suggest having a nonverbal signal, something you agree on before you fight.
Like a safe word. Or a gesture.
A gesture's great. The T hand signal, like in sports, it's universal. It means stop the clock.
I saw one source that suggested using, like, weird code words.
Yes. This is my favorite tip. One couple in the research used hamburger. Another one used platypus.
Platypus.
Think about it. You're in a screaming match. You're furious. And your partner suddenly looks you in the eye and yells platypus.
It's just absurd.
It's completely absurd. And that's why it works. It's a pattern interrupt. It shocks your brain just enough to break that tunnel vision. It might even introduce a little bit of humor.
I like that. Another one I saw was pump the brakes. It signals, we're going downhill too fast.
Whatever it is, you just have to agree on it when you're calm. You can't invent it in the moment.
Right. Okay, so we've called the timeout. We've flashed the T or shouted platypus. I promised to come back. I walk out of the room. Now what? What are the rules?
This is the danger zone for sure. There are strict rules on timing. First, the minimum. A timeout has to be at least 20 minutes.
Why 20? Why not just 5 minutes to, walk around the block?
It's the biology again. It takes your liver and kidneys about 20 minutes to filter all that adrenaline and cortisol out of your blood. It's a metabolic process. You can't rush it.
So if I come back in 5 minutes...
You're still physically in fight or flight.
Yeah.
You might think you're calm, but the second the topic comes up again, you'll just reflood instantly. You haven't reset.
It's like restarting a computer. You have to wait for it to fully power down. Okay. Minimum 20 minutes. Is there a maximum?
Yes. 24 hours. You can't let it go on forever.
Still, don't let the sun go down on your anger.
It's actually really good psychological advice here. If you wait too long, the issue just festers. It turns into a Cold War. You need to come back while it's still relevant.
So there's a window, 20 minutes to 24 hours. Okay, so what do I do during those 20 minutes?
This is where most people completely fail. They use the timeout to prepare for round 2.
Oh, 100%. I'm in the bedroom pacing. I'm having a whole argument in my head. And another thing, I should have said this.
Exactly. Gottman calls those distress-maintaining thoughts. You're just ruminating. You're replaying the victim tapes. And if you do that, your heart rate never goes down.
So I'm basically just sharpening my sword in the other room.
You're sharpening the sword. The whole point of the timeout is to put the sword down. Yeah. You need to engage in self-soothing.
Self-soothing. Sounds like what you do for a baby.
It's the exact same principle. You have to calm your own nervous system. Do something that has absolutely nothing to do with the fight.
Like what?
Read a magazine, listen to a podcast, maybe this one. Watch a funny video, take a walk. Movement is great for metabolizing that adrenaline.
What about calling a friend to vent about how crazy my partner is?
Nope. Hard no. That's just verbal rumination. It keeps the anger alive. You have to totally disengage from the conflict.
So distraction is the key.
Distraction is the key. You're trying to engage the parasympathetic nervous system, the brake pedal. Deep breathing is huge. Slow your breathing down to about 6 to 10 breaths a minute. It sends a direct signal to slow the heart rate.
Okay, so I'm breathing, I'm reading a magazine, I'm calm, my heart rate is back down. Now for the scary part, going back in.
Re-entry. It's delicate. But first, there's one golden rule about who starts it.
My responsibility rule.
Exactly. If you're the one who called the timeout the breaker, you are 100% responsible for initiating the return.
That's huge, because if I walked away, my partner's just sitting there waiting, probably anxious.
Wondering if you're ever coming back. If you make them come get you, it just triggers that pursuer dynamic all over again. They feel like they're chasing you.
It shifts the power in a really bad way.
Totally. You have to be the one to walk back in and say, okay, I'm calm now. I'm ready to try again. It builds so much trust. It shows you kept your promise.
Okay, so I walk back in, we sit down. How do we stop from just re-exploding in 10 seconds? The issue is still there.
You need a soft re-entry. You do not jump right back in with, so, as I was saying, that will reflood everyone instantly.
Instant relapse.
Instant. This is where the sources recommend a specific tool, the speaker-listener technique.
Is this the one with the floor? It feels a little, I don't know, elementary school.
It does sound formal, but it works wonders. You take an object, a pen, a coaster, whatever, and that object represents the floor.
Whoever holds the remote has the power.
Whoever holds the object is the speaker. And they speak briefly, no monologues, and they have to use I statements.
I feel versus you are.
It's critical. I feel frustrated when the kitchen is messy. Not. You are a slob who never cleans up. One invites empathy, the other invites defense.
Totally.
Now, here's the hard part. The other person, the listener, has a very strict job. They cannot rebut. They can't defend themselves. They can't roll their eyes. They can't say, but.
That sounds excruciating. Every fiber of my being would want to jump in and correct the record.
You have to suppress that urge. The listener's only job is to paraphrase what they heard.
What I hear you saying is...
What I hear you saying is that you feel frustrated when the kitchen is messy, and until the speaker says, yes, that's right, you don't get the pen.
The speaker has to feel totally understood before you switch.
Correct. Only then do you switch the object and the roles.
This sounds incredibly slow.
It's excruciatingly slow. It's clunky, it feels artificial, and that's the whole point.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. It forces you to slow the interaction down so that flooding doesn't come rushing back. It forces your brain to focus on listening instead of preparing your defense.
You can't prepare your comeback if your job is just to repeat what they said.
Right. It stops that ping-pong match of insults. It keeps the heart rates down. The goal isn't to agree right away. The goal is just to understand.
It's amazing how much of this is just biology. We think we're so logical, but really we're just walking chemical reactions.
We really are. And just realizing that is half the battle. When you realize your partner isn't just being a jerk, but is actually chemically hijacked, it gives you a little more grace.
So let's bring this all home. Love the sports analogy one of the sources used.
The NBA analogy is perfect.
Yeah.
When a team is losing, when the momentum is against them, what does the coach do?
Calls a timeout. Immediately.
Right. And do they pack up their bags and go home?
No. They huddle up, they catch their breath, they strategize.
Exactly. They stop the clock so they can win the game together. That is what a relationship timeout is. You aren't pausing to leave the team. You're pausing to stop the negative momentum so you can get back on the same page.
That is such a better way to frame it. It's not I'm leaving, it's let's huddle.
Let's huddle. I like that. It implies you're on the same side.
So here's our challenge to you, the listener. Do not wait until you are screaming at each other to try and figure this out.
Please don't. Trying to invent a new rule in the middle of a fight is a recipe for disaster.
Talk about it tonight, when you're calm. Maybe over dinner. Say, hey, I heard this deep dive about flooding and heart rates.
Blame it on us. Say, these hosts said we need a code word. Agree on your signal. Pick your word. Maybe it's platypus.
And agree on the promise. Look each other in the eye and say, if I call a timeout, I promise I will come back.
And the other half of that deal is, and if you call a timeout, I promise I will let you go. I won't follow you.
That's the deal. If you respect the pause, you build trust.
It's funny, we think strong couples are the ones who never fight.
But the research doesn't support that at all.
Not even close. All
No.
couples fight. The strong couples are just the ones who know how to repair. They know how to stop the bleeding before it gets out of control.
A strategic pause isn't a sign of a weak relationship. It is a master skill of a strong one. Taking 20 minutes now can save you 20 hours of repairing damage later.
Or 20 years of resentment.
20 minutes to save 20 hours? That's a pretty good return on investment.
I would take that deal any day.
Me too. Thanks for walking us through the biology of the blow-up. It makes me feel a little better about my own instincts.
Always a pleasure to help keep the peace.
And to you listening, good luck with the platypus conversation tonight. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Take care.